So I I think what you have there is it has the potential to be very, very expansive and very large in its impact. And one of my questions is why why an app at this point? Because it's something that these encounters happen at kind of spur of the moment. Do you go to your app and look for a response? How does that work?
Well, it's a mobile site, and I don't really see this as something that women use in the moment. It's more something that arms them for next time. And I think starting digital is just a really great way to start this as a movement. And I don't think that it's at scale only a digital tool. You know, it is an enterprise at the end of the day. And if this is step one, step seven is like 10 other things that a company has.
So this maybe as you accumulate more information via the app, that becomes content that evolves into a book or something. Is that the way you're?
Certainly, that could be one of the possible outcomes. We could also do workshops, we could do seminars, we could do all kinds of things in real life, or as you mentioned, publishing and content collecting.
Yeah, it looks like something that you want. It seems to me that the ability to collect a lot of this information from, as you point out, from everywhere in the world, because the cultural differences will be, very apparent, that eventually it may serve your audience more than, I mean, I understand starting as an app, I think it's probably the best way to start and accumulate the content.
Yeah.
But it probably may suit your audience or serve your audience greater is as they can kind of internalize it through a different method, such as a book or workshops. I think that's
like a real life field manual.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I think that there's something very wonderful about that. I did a Google search, and there are quite a number of FM radio stations. So how do you plan to deal with that market confusion?
Yeah, so FemFM is an abbreviation of the Female Field Manual,
Right.
but it's also a play on the US military field manuals that were titled blank FM.
Right.
But I think it's also kind of a play on the radio station interpretation, because it might not be music, but it's still sort of broadcasting all of these women's voices. And I think in terms of differentiation, at the beginning, this might even work in our favor, because women are already looking for this kind of content, and it might help us to push people to our site. And I think once they get a sense of what our product offers, that will differentiate in itself.
Okay. And the preloading of the app, where are you going to be getting that information? So that if someone downloads the app, they already have information that's useful. But how would you do that?
Sorry, I don't quite understand.
Well, I mean, you download the app, and I understand the interactive part of it, but it will be preloaded with a number of different already established advice that you would be offering?
Well, no, it's because it's real time. It will update as people update it, and it's.
Okay.
I think I'm thinking of it more as a mobile website than an app, so
Okay.
it doesn't have to like pre-store on your phone or anything like that.
And who are you considering from kind of an expert perspective to participate in this?
I think media influencers is going to be a big part of pushing FemFem to the light, and so women that are already lending their voice these kinds of issues, like Lena Dunham or Amy Poehler, or even Mindy Kaling, I guess, to some extent, because they're all sort of in this space talking about it, and I think would be happy to lend their voice to something like this.
Just with a few of the names that you've mentioned there's a kind of a comic association to them, but there's nothing funny about this. You think that they can still deliver a message that is best aligned to what your mission is?
Absolutely. I think even though they're in funny shows or whatever it is, they're still already delivering powerful messages about women and gender rights, and so I don't see that as an issue at all.
Okay. What about we talked a little bit about possible extensions offline, and so do you see that, have you tried a kind of a workshop model for this in any way? Have you tested that?
I haven't tried a workshop yet. What I have done is like little conversations with groups of people, and it's always been interesting to see sort of women trading off tips and then saying like, oh, I should try this next time, or I'm going to tell my sister about this. But I think this could easily transition into a workshop space if we partnered with people like OK Real or Lean In, who are already kind of setting up seminars in this sort of female empowerment space.
Okay. What role do men play in this?
Not a very big one right now. This is for women, it's by women, but I do think that there's a piece of it that could help to educate or start the conversation with men at a later stage once we generate enough content and enough data about the kinds of issues that we're addressing.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.